Picture it, Los Angeles, 2024.
Oh, welcome to Out on the Lanai, the only Golden Girls podcast you're ever gonna need to listen to. I'm HAlanScott / oh yeah, Sadie Pines.
I'm not Sadie Pines. I wish I was. I'm Kerri Doherty. Today we're doing another Golden Rewind where we go back and rewatch our favorite episodes of the Golden Girls and offer new insights since we first started breaking down these episodes way back in 2014, a decade ago. And in continuing with all of our fabulous Pride Month coverage, today we're bending over backwards and diving back into Blanche's relationship with her baby brother, Clayton.
Brother.
Season 6, Episode 14, Sister of the Bride, which for some reason on Hulu is called Sisters of the Bride.
Oh, weird. I think I noticed that before, actually. That's interesting.
I was like, Virginia?
Virginia too?
Charmaine?
That kidney from that Mormon lady worked out well for her, didn't it?
Sure did. But
she's getting married again.
Before we get into
wild.
all of that, today in the GGVIP Club, you're getting an all new Rusty Anchor Happy Hour bonus episode where we break down Estelle Getty's gayest non-gay, non-Golden Girls moments. We've been doing these for all of the girls during Pride Month. They've been so much fun with Estelle. Like, we've got some mannequin, we've got some Sylvester Stallone, some YouTube videos.
Oh, and Sylvester Stallone in a diaper.
In a diaper.
A diaper.
I
have to get up early in the morning.
I have to wake up early in the morning.
Please give me my diaper.
Marguerite. We have so much fun stuff in the GGVIP Club. You get ad-free episodes, tons of bonus content, plus...
And something this weekend, right?
Yes, this upcoming Saturday, we have another Zoom live watch-along, which we do every single month. They're so much fun. We're doing one this upcoming Saturday at 3 p.m. Eastern Time, 12 p.m. Pacific. We will be watching our favorite lesbian episode, Isn't It Romantic? There's so much fun.
One of my favorites.
It's one of my favorites.
You know what I love about the watch-alongs is that it's just so, it like reinstills why I love doing this podcast, because the people who come and it is the people who come, but it's also the conversations that we have. It's so relaxed. It's everyone understands me misquoting things. And it's just so representative of the community that we have for this podcast. And it just brings me, I always leave filled with so much joy. So like, if you want to feel that joy for a very minimal amount each month that supports a podcast that hopefully you've been listening to for a long time, I would say join this weekend. We'll have lots of fun this weekend.
I agree. The live watch-alongs, it's like, you remember when you were a little kid and like, you were excited to like go to a sleepover at a friend's or at a cousin's or whatever and neighbors. And you're like, oh, I just can't wait for it to be Saturday because then I get to do my sleepover. That's how I feel about our live watch-alongs.
Like, you know what, to even add on to the sleepover vibe of it, because yes, like sleepovers were always kind of fun for me, but they were also stressful because I was always like, oh, what are we going to watch? What are we going to do? Because like a lot of times, like, you know, kids my age didn't like the things that I liked, you know what I mean? And so if I found what our watchovers are like to me is that finding that one friend who, you know, is going to want to watch the Golden Girls all night long, like that's what it is. Instead of being like, oh, I have to watch Die Hard for some reason, I don't want to watch Die Hard. I want to watch Dorothy going, whoa, in the episode with Mario Lopez. You know what I mean? When the guy's in the movie theater or whatever. Like I want that. That's what I want to watch.
That's a really sweet way of putting it. Yeah. The watch-alongs are so much fun. We have the most fun conversations with everyone during them. And we all know the show and we're all quoting it. We're all talking about it. We all learn something new. It's super fun.
Yeah.
And if you want to join the GGVIP Club, you can do that at patreon.com/Golden Girls Podcast. You can join for free, but all of the bonus content, it starts at $5 a month or $8 a month. And if you sign up for a yearly, you get a discount. And yeah, it's just, we love doing it and we love everybody who's a part of it. We have an exclusive GGVIP chat on Patreon that we chat about Golden Girls stuff that you don't get on social media. So
yeah,
highly recommend you check it out.
So much fun. And I cannot wait to talk all about Estelle being the biggest and best queer ally that she was. My favorite, I think my favorite, well, no, I'll save that for the Patreon, but I
Okay.
was gonna say my favorite queer story about Estelle Getty, but I'll save that for
Ooh,
the
save it
Patreon.
for the
Yeah.
Patreon.
Remind me though, because I'm working on like 2 hours sleep, so I will forget,
Okay. All right.
that I need to do that.
You're a
So
Stell
please,
story. You got it. And I have
please
ADHD, so I
remind
have
me.
to put it in my notes right now. So talk for
Ah.
10 seconds while I put it in my notes.
Okay. I am so excited about this episode because Clayton's accent is so perfectly matched to Blanche's accent. Those two actors have, to me, never made more sense as siblings than any other casting on a show I think I've ever seen. I mean,
I totally agree.
maybe I would say Monica and Ross were pretty great casting as siblings, but well, Lisa Kudrow and her sister, because they were twins, they were the same Lisa Kudrow, so that was good casting, I guess. But
They
like
got 2 for
but
the
like
price of 1. Do you think
but
she got
them being
paid for playing 2 characters? Do you think she got do you think she got
I don't think
her
so.
series
I don't think
regular rate
so.
and a guest star rate for playing
I don't
Ursula?
think so.
She should have.
Maybe. She should
She was
have,
playing a
that'd be
different
fun.
character.
But no, they do such a good job of playing siblings and acting like they have this long history together. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? Even in the little way that they overlap their lines, it's just so familiar and comfortable. And it makes me think back to that Sean Sheps episode that we did so many years ago now. Love Sean Sheps, original Becky, like the best. But when she talked about how Rue McClanahan wanted her to come over the night before they started shooting so that they could work lines and like get to know each other and sort of have that familiarity that a mother daughter would have. And I feel like Rue McClanahan probably did the same in this situation too. And it really shows in the work, you know?
I agree that her and Monty Markham, the actor who plays Clayton, they definitely they
The Baywatch
feel
star. Who knew?
related.
Who knew?
I
Who
know.
knew?
The last
Who knew?
episode when we watched Scared Straight, I think you found a shirtless photo of him that we looked at. It was
Shocking.
quite
Shocking.
lovely.
Hmm.
I love in the cinematic universe of the Golden Girls, I love Blanche's family dynamic and I love her dynamic with Clayton. I love that
Hmm.
they used him for this storyline, that Blanche was the one that had this storyline about this acceptance of her brother. And
Yeah.
it's also, I love that they brought him back because, we are seeing different levels of acceptance from Blanche and her struggles and different levels of acceptance in these 2 episodes. In the first episode, she at the end she sort of gets to a place where she can accept the idea of Clayton being gay. And then in
Yeah.
this episode, she learns eventually to accept what that actually looks like. And I
Yeah.
really like that they brought him back, for another episode. I think it was like 2 seasons later,
Yeah. Mhm.
So it was just a really
And it's
great little
so
arc for that relationship.
and and for me as a queer person, understanding queer history and where we were in the sort of grand scheme of things at that time and where men of Clayton's age were at that time in our history, it is really poignant to see that relationship, that he isn't disowned from his family, that he is loved, he is cared for, that his partner can be cared for, that is respected and is seen as a member of the family. And like even to this day, you don't see that all the time. Like you see it more obviously, but like I mean, I was just in New Orleans for a family situation, and um a family member was talking about another family member who like just would not accept their relationship, their marriage, because it was a gay couple. And that's happening in 2024. And so the fact that the Golden Girls were showing this in what year was this?
91, I think.
1991? Yeah, in 1991, when if you think about it, the idea of gay marriage was so far beyond what people were thinking. I mean, only one state had even attempted anything like it, and that was just sort of a civil partnership. But the idea of even the word marriage being attached, or I mean, it just was so foreign that it just shows you how advanced the Golden Girls were, you
Mhm.
know? And
Yeah.
it makes me proud. It makes me proud, I think, to be a fan of a show that got it.
Mhm.
That I don't have to, and it makes me also proud to be a fan of a show that I don't have to constantly be apologizing for. Yes, the Golden Girls sometimes got jokes wrong and very much showed the times in which the show was made. But overall, for the most part, I can very proudly say I'm a fan of the Golden Girls without being embarrassed, you know?
Oh yeah, you're right. I mean, sure, of course, with any show of a certain time, there are going to be, insensitivities and but
Yeah.
overall, the show is incredibly progressive, and especially with this.
Mhm.
And I think too, even though it's not mentioned in the episode, when you think about gay marriage, when people are married, you have access to someone's pension, to being able to get on their health
Yep.
insurance, all that stuff that you wouldn't
Mhm.
even think about
End of
necessarily.
life stuff,
Mhm.
housing security. I mean, there are so many things that having, a marriage and what a marriage is so much more than love.
It's so much more
It's
than just
like
paper. Yeah, and it's not just a piece
it's
of paper.
it's so much more than that, and it dictates so much of what and how people can then use your access to not being married, which was before we had marriage equality. So many places would use that against people who were not married because they were different races or
Mhm.
the same sex or whatever it might be. And they would use that against them to prevent them from, and usually out of just malice, out of
Mhm.
just being downright rotten and mean-spirited, not letting someone see their spouse when they die, or not letting someone get those benefits, or all of that stuff. And I'm just so glad that we are where we are, but we also have a long way to go. That said, I also love too that I'm at a place as a queer person in this country where I can openly be like, I don't want to get married,
I was
and
actually
it's
gonna
fine.
ask you that
Fine.
question. Like, what I was
Yeah,
gonna ask you what your thoughts are on
doesn't
marriage for yourself.
I just don't see it as it's not something. One of the things I think that Michael and I love about who we are and how we are in the world is that, like, we're very much individuals, and yet we are a team
Mhm.
and, a family, and we're moving forward and making those decisions and having the tough things and the happy things and all of the things. But the need for that, I just I don't see it
Mhm.
necessarily in my life. Who knows? Who knows? I'm always open to change. Life changed a lot over my 28 years. But but I'm it's just not something that is necessarily important to me, but I love that I have a
Mhm.
choice,
Yeah.
which I did not have, which so many people did
Right.
not and still do not have in
Mhm.
so many parts of the world and
Yeah.
country. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It's nice. You
Yeah.
have the choice. Yeah.
Yeah, which
Yeah.
I like. I want choices.
Yeah.
I like choices. I love a buffet.
Oh my god, I love a buffet.
I love a
The
buffet.
buffet, this is
Oh.
the only thing I'm gonna say about the buffet. The Disney hotel,
Don't even
cruise,
get me
the
started.
okay,
Don't even get me started. I'm standing up.
okay.
Don't even
The
get me started
food
because
the
a
food
Disney
reviews I've
buffet, there isn't.
seen on the I'm talking about the Disney I'm talking about specifically the Star Wars hotel
Yes, I know what you're
buffet.
talking
Okay,
about.
you know
I
what I'm
know.
talking about. Okay,
Yes.
they're beautiful dishes.
Oh,
I didn't go, but
can I
they're
tell
beautiful
you,
dishes.
I went to, I mean, this is so off the Golden Girls, yet all of the Golden Girls are Disney icons or whatever. So, like, this is on brand for us to
Sure.
talk about Disney. Um, Nobody does a buffet better than Disney, with the perhaps exception of the great city of Las Vegas, Nevada. That said, a Disney buffet. I went to Goofy's Kitchen here in Disneyland with Michael's family, Michael's sisters,
What's
and
Goofy's Kitchen?
it's just at Disneyland Hotel, and you can go to Goofy's Kitchen, and it's a buffet, and they have breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and we went for
Is
breakfast
it
because
Goofy
we are
themed?
breakfast. Well, yes, Goofy is the head chef, but they all, and it's a character breakfast. So what I love about it is oftentimes these buffets are character breakfast driven. So like, or meal driven. So like the characters will come out and greet you during your
Oh,
meal.
I've seen this. I've seen videos of
Yes.
this.
I posted videos of this, and there is nothing more joyful than me sitting there and eating my eggs and also my side biscuit and gravy. Biscuit, singular, not plural.
No one's
You only
judging.
need
No one's
one.
judging.
I just don't need more than one because I want to try everything on the
That
breakfast
makes
buffet. That's how
sense.
much I'm dedicated to a buffet. But as I'm eating those eggs, Daisy will come up behind me, and Daisy will be Daisy, and I love Daisy so much. And so it's just the best experience. It's just the best experience. I love a Disney buffet.
I think I saw a YouTube video during the buffet where somebody in either the Daisy or the Donald costume, I think it was maybe the Donald costume, or just Donald, if you don't want to ruin the illusion for anyone listening. They have like a
His anniversary. It's his anniversary too. It's
Donald's.
like this year is
Is
the
he
anniversary
100?
of
Or
I I think it might be 90,
I was
but
going to say,
it's one of those big
all
ones.
right, because I was going to say, are we to expect a Donald Duck horror movie to come out soon?
Oh, no, he's 90
Okay,
then.
so he's not for use yet. I think
Yeah.
I saw a video where, so I guess the characters, there's a signal they have if they need assistance, if they're having like a medical emergency or something, and there was like a Donald at a buffet like repeatedly giving whatever the signal is, and somebody had to come over and like help Donald away from the
Wow.
buffet, but the Donald stayed in character the whole time.
You know what's so interesting about that? You said you didn't want a Donald horror movie, but yet you just turned this into
I
a
just
Donald horror
described one,
movie.
didn't I?
Yeah, you did.
All
Well,
right, the last
okay.
thing before we go to a commercial break that I want to say about this
Rose would
episode.
have loved a Disney buffet. I'm just saying.
Oh
Rose would
my
have
God,
died for a Disney buffet.
Rose would have,
Loved.
she would
Who
have
do you think would Rose be after? Who would be Rose's favorite?
wrote Mickey Mouse. I just think because he's,
Yeah.
oh, you know,
Yeah, you're
he's that.
right. You're
I
right.
think that's
You're
why.
right.
I mean, she's most like Goofy, but I think she would love Mickey Mouse. And I tell you what,
Oh,
Rose
see,
would
I think
get.
she's most like I think she's most like Minnie, to
You
be
think she's
honest.
most
But
like
yeah.
Minnie?
But Minnie has a bit of an attitude, but so does Rose sometimes, Yeah.
Oh boy.
You hypersexual bitch.
Oh my gosh. Rose would get
Yeah.
Mickey Mouse pancakes and the face would be so sweet that she wouldn't be able to eat it. She'd walk around with like her Mickey pancake all day. She
That
wouldn't be able
is
to eat
a
it.
beautiful mental picture you just painted. I literally see Betty White as Rose Nyland with her plate, and it would be a waffle, not a pancake,
Sure.
but a Mickey waffle, and she would say to everyone at the table, I can't do it. I can't eat Mickey. And she would push the plate away from her,
Yeah.
and it would make me happy.
Yeah, it'd be really sweet. She would just get like scrambled eggs or something because they don't look like
Yeah.
they're in the shape. And then Sophia would be mean and form the scrambled eggs into the shape of Mickey also. And
eat it now, Rose.
everything Rose would try to eat, and Rose would just be hungry and dehydrated and she would pass out on Space Mountain or something.
Oh God.
One
amazing.
thing I loved about Rose, speaking of Rose in this episode, is that we saw two of her biggest conflicting personality traits come together in this episode, which is
Yes.
one of my favorite things about Rose is how selfless she is. She loves helping people, the grief center. She was like making calls even after she was fired from it, driving the bookmobile. She volunteers at the hospital. She's also really competitive, bowling, coaching Pee Wee football. So to see her charitable side and her competitive side like come together and clash, it was like such a Jekyll Hyde thing for her.
Good.
And I just thought it was a really fun coming
really
together of those things.
It makes you love Betty White as an actress. These kind of episodes. She's not the main point of this episode, but God, she is so fun in this episode.
She's on her mantle. I love it.
Well, we should take a break and get into it because I'm very eager to.
Me
so
too.
Let's do
Eager.
that.
I'm an eager beaver.
Eager beaver. That sounds inappropriate.
And we are back talking of I was talking of sisters. Sister. Never knew how much I missed her.
Oh, see, you went there and I went to the movie.
Different. Yeah. Okay.
That's fine.
These are our differences. So Dorothy and Sophia are planning a charity banquet together. Always love it in these episodes when the women got a good old charity banquet. And the Sophia Dorothy storyline in this episode, she's basically like sex trafficking Dorothy to men to get discounts for the banquet.
Listen, I would let myself, like, if you, like, let's say we were fundraising, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you were like, oh, well, I've done the math. I've looked at the data of our podcast and we have quite a few queer male listeners, or maybe even some women who are like, HAlan, I love those tangents. I want to go on a date with that tangent and like have him go in 7 different directions or whatever. And I would let you hoe me out for the fundraiser for the podcast if that's what was needed.
Right, but you're just talking about tangents.
Well, me on a date doing tangents. I mean,
because
Sophia's not necessarily implying that they're going to have the dirty deed.
Well, one particular man asked if Dorothy owned a riding crop and a leather bra and if she could lick her eyebrows. So that's what Sophia had promised, because when Dorothy says no, Sophia goes, I guess we're paying full price for the cocktail, Franks.
Listen, you haven't lived until you've licked someone's eyebrows at an Arby's. You know what I
She
mean?
lick
Like,
her own eyebrows. Can you? I can. Yeah, you can't
I
lick
have
your
a
eyebrows.
very I have a very large
I
tongue.
have a long
Like,
tongue.
oh, mine's just wide.
Mine's
I have a
long. I
very
feel like
wide
we've done
tongue.
this on the
Why did I
podcast
take my
before. I
glasses
don't
off to
know because you were
I was
planning on
like,
licking your eyebrows.
yeah, I didn't wanna get my
We've
glasses
done
wet.
this because I can touch the tip of my nose with my tongue, and yours
I
tongue's
can't.
very wide and mine's very long. Mine looks
That's
like
our you
it's out of
that's wait,
Beetlejuice.
do it
If
again
you're
so
watching
we
this
can
on
make
YouTube, this will be the thumbnail for the if you're watching this on YouTube or Patreon, we're sticking our tongues out to compare them.
wait, go like this so we can put the women beside us. You go to the left, your left.
Okay. Okay, great.
Okay, great. That's a great thumbnail.
That's a great thumbnail.
Okay.
So just the funny thing about Sophia is like again, Sophia is totally fine with Dorothy using her sex for charity with strangers. But when Dorothy goes on a date with a newly divorced Glenn, Sophia tells her to keep both feet on the floor. It's like pick a lane, lady.
Yeah, I know, but I'm not mad at it. I want more of it, you know?
Yeah. Later, when Dorothy does come into the living room, she talks about the licking her eyebrows thing. I noticed she said, I just received the strangest crank call. Do you call it a crank call or do you call it a
I've
prank
never
call?
I heard that too. I thought prank. I've never heard of a crank call before, but I meant to Google what the origins of
Well,
it,
I
and
remember Crank Yankers, the prank phone call. Remember with the puppets on Comedy
oh, wait, I
Central?
have it. Prank calls this is from Reddit, so,
Do with it what you will.
yeah. Prank calls involve jokes. Crank calls involve long stories to trick the person being called. So maybe cranky yankers, that's why crank yankers, right? That's what it was called?
Yeah.
So maybe that's why it's called because 'cause they're longer calls, crank calls.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
Where in a
Well,
prank call would just be like, hey, is your refrigerator running? Yeah. Well, you better go get it. Click.
yeah, that
That's
would
it.
and also be more creative.
Right. Of
This is the
course.
part of the podcast where the NBC little rainbow, "The more you know," comes across the screen.
Yeah. Okay. Well, yeah.
We learned
You
something.
learned
We learned
something.
something.
You learned something.
Yeah. Mhm.
So we also learn when it comes to this banquet, Rose has been nominated for the Volunteer of the Year award. I
Mm.
was glad it wasn't as wordy as whatever that other one was. It was like the Friends of Good Health Benefit of the Year award. Remember the the other
Ah,
one where
ah.
it was so
You
long.
know, it's so interesting in life because, like, there are so many moments in life where, like I mean, I was trying to think of moments where people win awards, you know what I mean? If you're not, like, an actor or something, most people aren't winning awards. Like, you win awards when you're a kid for, like, school stuff,
Right.
and then I guess when you're old, when you volunteer for different stuff. But, like, for the most part, like, I haven't won an award in a long time.
I haven't
Wait,
either.
no, I won an award at a film festival for Latter-day Jews, so maybe I
Hey,
have.
there you
Maybe
go.
I have,
Look
maybe
at
I have.
that.
Okay, well, see, and it just shows you how much I cared
Okay.
about it
Yeah,
because
I know.
I forgot. I'm very busy. 2
Yes,
hours
you're
of sleep.
very busy on
Yeah,
2 hours of sleep. You're
yeah,
doing great. You're doing
yeah,
great. We're all
yeah,
here to
thank
prop
you,
you up on that such little sleep.
thank you.
But no, I
Oh,
agree. Yeah, just
yeah,
fall out of your chair.
yeah.
Yeah, unless you work at a company where you get like salesman of the
Yeah.
year award, salesperson of the so but yeah,
It's
you're
just so
right.
not common,
Yeah.
so it's like and I can imagine then when, we're their age, like, when we're retired, which is in 50 years, then, um, then
70 years
maybe you
even maybe.
70 yeah, maybe we'll, volunteer and, like, get awards, and then we'll get awarded again, which
Well,
will be great.
I can see why Rose is so determined because she's been nominated for 7 years.
She's the Susan Lucci of this volunteer award
She is
program.
the Susan Lucci. The Luch is losing in
I
this
wonder when
case.
that reference is gonna go out of style because there will come a time when people listening to this podcast know exactly what that reference
I
to,
guarantee
but
you
if
there are a
I
couple that are Googling right now, and it's okay. There's no
think
shame in
so?
Googling Susan Lucci right now.
Wow, I just assumed that if you're a fan of the Golden Girls, you know that Susan Lucci was nominated for, like, what? I don't know how many she was nominated for, like, 17 Emmys or
A
something before she won, like,
gajillion.
something ridiculous.
Yeah.
That woman suffered while making money
And yeah, while making beautiful daytime
and
art.
being steadily employed, yeah, so she's good. She's good, she's fine.
Yeah. But Rosen Island is not. because she
No.
has not won, because the last 7 years, Agnes Bradshaw has won. But this year, Rose is going to win because Agnes is as dead as a doorknob. And when
Yes.
Betty White says, dead, 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 Muffin, the delivery of that before she
Yeah.
does, she goes, dead, dead, dead. Coffee? Like, it's
Yeah.
she's just so funny. She's so funny.
She's so funny. It's
She's so
so
funny.
good.
She's so funny.
Yeah.
So meanwhile, Clayton is coming for a visit. He
Mhm.
has a huge surprise for Blanche. We know that the surprise is Doug, obviously.
Yes. Handsome Doug.
Yeah, handsome Doug. You know, Blanche is still like, she still thinks that Clayton being gay is a phase, which she tells the other women, which is, she's super surprised when Doug shows up.
That's something that we talked about, I think, a lot when we first watched this episode, and I think we've talked about this since, but, we talked a lot about why is Blanche so ignorant to the idea of her brother being gay or even being in a queer
Mm-hmm.
relationship, and I think it's very on brand for someone like Blanche to form a narrative in her own head that suits what she wants and sees in the world. And so, because she is so vain that, like, you know, she's just if she didn't think of it, it doesn't really matter, kind of
Mm-hmm.
thing. And so it kind of totally makes sense that she's completely forgotten that her brother's gay, basically.
Yeah, and there's also a layer of, Blanche really cares what people think about her, and
A lot.
Blanche is from the conservative South. So,
Yeah.
I think there's that element too woo,
Mhm.
on, even though she's joking and saying like, "Oh, I think it was just a phase," like, on some level, like, I think
Yeah, she knows.
she knows, and deep down there's a part of her that wishes it wasn't true, and I think she feels a little
Mhm.
shame for that. I
Mhm.
also wanted to ask you, so when Clayton shows up with Doug and all he's told Blanche is that, like, "Hey, I have a surprise for you." Do you feel like that was, knowing Clayton and Blanche's relationship, was that the best way for him to, like, tell Blanche that news, to just show up with Doug? Like, do you think Clayton could have handled it
I
any
think it
differently knowing
was.
Blanche?
No, I think it was because, you know, so often this family loves like gifts and surprises and all of those things. And like there is sort of the element of an event that this family, we've seen it with Big Daddy, we've seen it with so many of them where they come for a purpose that you think is one thing and then it turns into something
I'm
very much
dying,
else.
Blanche.
Yeah, yes. I mean that was a warranted event. But yes, it's still like they love to really deliver the drama. And
Blanche,
I
meet
don't
Big
think
Mommy. Sorry.
I don't think Clayton did it. That's true. I don't think Clayton did it in a way that was meant to be malicious. I
No.
do think that he thought, considering how they left things, that Blanche would probably be fine with it. It does make me question how much they've communicated since the past 2 years or however much time has passed between the last episode and this one, because you would think Doug would say something that he's been dating or he's been going out on dates or he's been whatever, but then I think about, like, I never talked with my siblings or my mom when I was single about, like, who I was dating. It
Mhm.
was only when I got into a serious thing did I bring it up, you know?
Right.
So,
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe I don't think he should have said anything in advance.
Yeah. I mean, I think either way, Blanche would have had the same reaction. And honestly,
Yeah.
she may have been in denial until Clayton literally like presented Doug to her and was like, "This is my
Yeah.
fiance."
Which is exactly what happens,
Yes,
basically.
although he doesn't say they're planning on getting
No.
married first. He sort of like chips away at it, which again I also understand because that's like a big
I get
surprise.
it. It's
Yeah.
a big
It's a big
surprise.
thing.
Yeah, totally.
And I know that this episode is all about Blanche's reaction to Clayton and Doug, and her
But
story dealing with that.
Dorothy and Sophia are just incredible. Dorothy is incredible in this episode.
Dorothy's incredible. Sophia, I just love to hug my mommy is my favorite moment. But
We have a clip of that. Or no, we
we
don't.
do have a clip. I believe we have a clip of
Yeah.
that, but I do want to. Rose also steals the scene
Yeah.
when Doug comes
Yeah.
with her naivete. It is just so classic
Mhm.
Rose. I did want to play a moment from that.
Yeah, let's do that. Let's do that.
Blanche, this is Doug. He's my friend. My very special friend.
Well, any friend of Clay's. Ah, so. Isn't it wonderful that they became so close between the airport and here? speak to my cab drivers.
Rose, Doug is not a cab driver.
No, ma'am. Actually, I'm a policeman.
Oh, well, what's a policeman doing bringing fares from the airport? I know. I bet you do undercover work. And I'll bet he does it damn well.
Which I don't quite get the joke.
Undercover, under the covers.
Under the covers.
In the
I
bedroom.
guess, see, I thought it was like my dumb queer ass who literally, let's say I'm exposed to some sexual identities that are perhaps more risque. My dumb ass was literally like, is this a role play thing?
I
Is this
love
like
that. I love
is
that.
this like is this a Folsom thing? I don't really know. All the gay people listening are like,
Emphatically nodding.
they're all like, I know where his brain went and I supported.
That's so fun. I mean, that's how I took it. Just
and you're probably right. That's how it was
under the
intended.
covers,
I mean, that is
but-
exactly, that makes total sense. It's literal. And I am, of course, immediately went to a cop dressed up in the streets of San Francisco spanking people. So like, you know,
I don't know. Yours
there's
sounds
like,
a little bit more
there's
fun.
there's a difference. I mean,
I'm going to
we
make
could-
a
we can-
presumption that
let's do Golden Girls at Folsom. I think I may have that would be so bad for us, yet so fun.
Golden Girls at Folsom.
Just Google it and you'll question that suggestion.
Wait, what do you mean Google it?
Oh, you know it?
No. Wait, what is Golden Girls? Is that a thing? Has someone performed Golden Girls at Folsom?
I think everyone listening, every queer person listening is laughing right now.
Oh no.
So Folsom, no, it's funny.
I know what Folsom is. I know.
I was suggesting, oh, you know what Folsom is?
Yeah.
So I was suggesting
I know Johnny
that
Cash.
no, not that.
Oh,
it's not
no,
that.
no, I am dumb. It's not Johnny Cash, like Johnny Cash live at Folsom Prison.
No, the Folsom. I don't know the official title, but it is a street festival fundraiser. It's a fundraiser, HIV/AIDS fundraiser.
Oh, now I feel like an asshole.
Folsom. No. Trust me, it gets worse. But better. For me, it gets better. For you, it might get worse. For it's a fundraiser in San Francisco in the Folsom community that was started. That is essentially a free love sex sort of festival thing that happens once a year in the streets of the Folsom neighborhood of San Francisco, where you can be sexual and naked and all the things. And so that's why I thought it was funny to be like, oh, we should go do a Golden Girls podcast live or whatever at Folsom. Or we should go, like you and I should just go to Folsom. And how weird that would be like when the girls went to the
right. It's like the Purge, but instead of everybody killing each other and it's like lawless for a day, it's just everybody's allowed to do whatever they want sexually
and
in
they're
the
spanking
streets.
each other
I love
in the streets. Yeah. It would be like when the girls went to the nudist hotel. That would be us going to Folsom. We would go and be very out of place.
We always dress for dinner.
And I was out of place. So that would be funny. Every queer person listening right now is dying.
Well, I'm glad I gave everybody a laugh. But also, could you imagine doing like a Golden Girls live drag show at Folsom Prison? Now, is that in your head now that I've said that?
I don't want to do that.
I mean, I don't. I was going along with the adventure. Wow. Well.
Wow, Kerri.
Oy boy. Okay, there is
So they're not into role play. It's undercover.
It's undercover work. Got it. I also love anytime Dorothy does you'll have to excuse my mother joke. I love, and I think this is my favorite one because there is the one that's you'll have to forgive my mother. She was a witness to the Hindenburg disaster. But this is my favorite one, which is you'll have to excuse my mother. She had a stroke, which left her, if I can be frank, a complete burden. I love those jokes.
Yeah.
I love the you'll have to excuse my mother jokes. They're
so many good jokes
so good.
Like between them.
I mean, there were. I pulled like 3 more moments for clips, and I was like, I have to dial these back, and we're just gonna have to recreate some of them. So I do have another clip to play, which is later that night when Blanche, she's still having trouble wrapping her brain around Clayton and Doug dating, which leads to one of my favorite Sophia jokes in this episode.
Oh, God.
I don't really mind Clayton being homosexual. I just don't like him dating men.
You really haven't grasped the concept of this gay thing yet, have you?
There must be homosexuals who date women.
Yeah, they're called lesbians.
It's so perfect. See, now that's so funny because like that's your favorite, right? From this episode?
It's my favorite Sophia joke. I think my favorite joke, which I think we have the clip for, is
That's it. This I think we have the same favorite then because the next clip that we have, which is after this scene in the living room, that's my favorite joke.
okay. I think we have the same one, so
I think
we'll
so
see when
too.
we get to it. I also love how Sophia's just like casually putting cookies away in a box as she says it. She
Yeah.
doesn't even look up. Yeah, they're called lesbians. Oh
Yeah.
man, to be a fly on the wall at that table read with just
Yeah.
everybody was roaring with laughter at
Because
this table
what's
read.
so great about it is, I mean, Blanche and Clayton drive the story, and they are the serious performers in this episode. They're the very sort of tone driven ones, and then the other three girls just get to be funny.
They're so
Just get
funny.
just get to like. I do wish Doug was able to be a little bit more funny, like in sort of a dry way, like little moments, but there just wasn't enough opportunities. I bet. But like,
It's so hard for guest stars to
yeah,
to have funny material because
I know.
the women get the laughs. Like
Yeah.
you can't have it depend. I mean, I'm trying to even think if Clayton had any jokes.
I mean, no, not really. I mean, because he did, but not
I
like
can't
what we're
think of any
talking
off the
about.
top of my head, but
Yeah.
I also love when they're talking about the sleeping arrangements where Blanche hadn't even thought about it. Like she's like, "Oh my god, the sleeping arrangement." Ugh. And so Dorothy's like, "No big deal. Like they can, I'll, bunk on the couch. Me and Ma will bunk out here. They could take Ma's room or whatever." Or and she tells him to go to sleep in Blanche's room. And Blanche is like, "What will the neighbors think if they see two men in my bedroom?" Sophia's like, "They'll think it's Tuesday."
Yeah.
I love that joke.
Which makes me also wonder, like, Blanche is so, sexually fluid, if you will. I'm just saying, two men in her bed ain't the first time.
Oh, I think she's had like entire soccer teams. Like,
Wow.
I don't know if it was
Entire
in her
Santa
bedroom, but
conventions.
she's
Yeah.
been in the men's locker room. Like, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I
Yeah.
love it. Blanche's
Dressed as a man. Dressed as a man.
2-man Tuesdays. 2-for-1 Tuesdays.
I love that.
Oh, I love that. I wonder if the men know that the other man's going to be there. Like, did Blanche just have two guys show up and go like, well, oh, well, let's just have a party? Or did she like approach
I think it's
two
usually
men like,
no, I don't think she's doing challengers level, Zendaya level, like maneuvering of men. I think that's a modern reference for a recent film that came out. I think that it's purely like, oh, well, I got George and David here. Let's just have a party and see what happens. And then what happens is, well, paint color in the lines. or
okay,
whatever
yeah,
the
because
expression
it's
is.
definitely
Yeah.
it's two men at the same time, right? It's not that she has two men in her bedroom. Like,
That is a great title for a memoir.
what?
2 men at the same
Two
time.
men at the same time.
The Sadie Pine story. Oh, that is actually literal too.
I love that. 2 men at the same
At the
time.
same
The Sadie
time.
Pine story.
Coming soon.
That's so funny. My brother just got a dog and her name is Sadie. And I was like, there is
Oh,
a
that's
fabulous
so
drag queen.
sweet.
Yeah.
She better not look like me.
No, she doesn't look like you. She's not as tall as you when she's in heels.
No, not at all.
But Blanche's real issue is what people will think if they see Clayton and Doug together out in public, which has now become a possibility because Rose has invited him to the banquet because she's like,
Of
I'm going to win
course.
the award. I'm so excited, whatever. And then this leads into my favorite moment in the episode. And I
Yep,
think yours.
mine too.
Okay.
Mine too.
All right,
It's
let's
just
play
so
it.
good. Let's just play it.
No, what I mean.
We get what you mean.
Blanche, we don't have to worry about what the world thinks about our relationship. It just doesn't matter because we're there for each other. I'd do anything for Doug, and he'd bend over backwards for me.
Sometimes I just love to hug my mommy.
The way the audience was eating up B. Arthur and Estelle Getty in this moment, eating them up like they are a piece of meat. They could not get enough. They could not get enough.
It's Dorothy's delivery.
Yeah.
When
It's the
Dorothy,
way she manhandles Estelle.
Yeah, the way she manhandles her. And then when she lets go, Sophia's face, she looks like a child hostage. Like,
Yes.
she's so confused and frightened, but
it is such, like, to me, there are so many moments, because I mean, the casting of a mother-daughter, I think, is so hard to do. And when you look at them on paper, B. Arthur and Estelle Getty, they don't make sense as mother-daughter. They don't at all, like on any level, really. And yet, the dynamics between those two performers being able to have that closeness to do that kind of work and to make it believable and not stagey, not rehearsed, is just magic. It's just magic. And kudos to the casting people for figuring that, and for thinking that, because really it is Estelle, the gift of Estelle being sort of available to a class act like B. Arthur, who is so seasoned, who knows everything, who knows how to do this, who's been in television forever. But for Estelle Getty, a newbie, essentially, getting into a world like this and making it believable, it's just moments like this just make you go, God, she was good.
Yeah. And the size difference between the two of them, and the fact that
the way they use it for comedy, it's so good.
I mean, Sonny and Cher, which a couple people have pointed out when we did Draggiest Moments in our so when we did Draggiest Moments last week, somebody pointed out that we forgot Sonny and Cher, which is like a very draggy moment for Sophia.
It is draggy, but for some weird reason, I don't see it as like, I mean, yeah, it is draggy. I get that.
And also it's Cher.
It feels more like cosplay than draggy to me.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
That's interesting.
Like, it feels, it doesn't, like, that's why we also didn't include Henny Penny as well.
Well, sure,
like,
yeah.
There's a costumey element to it that I think is different from the other versions.
Oh, that's interesting.
But, yeah. Anyway, we should take a break and come back with more, because this episode goes in a wonderful direction.
Sometimes I just love to hug my mommy. And it's the way she
so
says
good.
mommy. It's the way she says mommy too.
You know
mommy.
What it
they
is?
said mommy. She never calls her mom. Like, oh, I
you
can't
know what
get
it
over
reminds
this
me
joke.
of?
What's that?
You know what? It kind of reminds me of how Robert Durst said mommy in The Jinx, like in the documentary The Jinx.
I don't remember how he said mommy. I just remembered how he spelled Beverly wrong.
Mommy and daddy were fighting. Mommy. It's very B. Arthur.
I don't remember that. That's disgusting. Ugh.
But it is. I mean, it's funny to me. I mean, I get.
Like, when was he saying that?
He was talking about his childhood, like what mommy and dad, and mommy went away. Like, he was answering questions and stuff.
Okay.
And, yeah.
At a deposition or something.
No, in an interview with the documentary.
Oh, okay. Got it. Next one's coming out soon.
It's already out.
Oh, it is? Oh, okay. I don't have HBO.
It's already over. The season's is over.
Oh, okay. Well, good. I'll have something to watch when I go to New Jersey in a few weeks. So Clayton and Doug announced that they're getting married. Blanche cannot handle it. She's
loses it.
She's barely sort of been able to wrap her brain around Clayton being in a committed relationship. So she has a really hard time with this. And then everybody goes to the charity banquet, and Blanche has decided not to go. I do want to talk about the look of the charity banquet. There's a dolphin ice sculpture. There is jumbo shrimp cocktail on ice.
Amazing treat. I love a jumbo shrimp.
I love shrimp cocktail.
Same with the sauce. Ooh.
It's so good. And, from Weight Watchers, shrimp is 0 points, even if it's a jumbo one. That's a deal.
Is the sauce? I bet the sauce is too.
Cocktail sauce, as long as there's no sugar in it.
Yeah.
You start to learn what things don't have sugar in them that are good to snack on, like olives and hamburger pickles. Can we talk about
Oh,
Rose's dress? I know I eat a lot of pickles now. Rose's outfit,
so
that
good.
teal dress, that like iridescent
Mhm.
sparkly jacket with a
Teal
cool
just
pattern.
works on Betty White. She looks
She
so good in
looked
teal.
gorgeous while she was practicing her
Gorgeous.
speech. Gorgeous. I did
Gorgeous.
notice. So when Dorothy, Rose, Clayton, and Doug are sitting around the table, because Blanche wasn't planning on going, did you notice how many flutes of champagne were at that table?
I mean, it's like, I mean, I'm like that. Like,
There were flutes upon flutes of champagne at that table.
yeah, parties and stuff. Like, I tend to, like, we were just commenting on that recently. We were all sort of just drinking, and after a very rough bit of time, and um, we would have like half a glass here. And I mean, it just sort of the glasses just started piling up when you wanted to try different drink, all the things, and it just becomes a sea of beverages. And I can relate to that.
I guess if the lines are long, you probably order more than you needed, right? If there's like a long
Mm,
line at the bar
I
to
would,
get champagne.
I would double fist it, yeah, for sure.
I was also thinking that maybe Sophia had them all brought over because she's promised Dorothy's body to all of these men. She's like, I better get my daughter liquored up. I'm going to promise
That's
her to
so
the
inappropriate.
florist and the butcher and the ice sculpture guy.
That's like that new Lisa Rinna movie, Mommy Bully or something. Mommy Meanest. Mommy Meanest it was called, where if you want to see the funniest SNL, not SNL trailer ever in the world, look up Mommy Meanest, Lisa Rinna, and it's the best thing you'll ever see. It's about a girl getting bullied online, and then you see Lisa Rinna, the mom, and then in the corner as the girl's crying over being bullied, and the mom's just like, because she's the bully.
Oh,
Yeah. Yeah.
that took a turn.
Well, because it's a Lifetime drama, and it's so good. Bad,
Oh, I
good. It's
don't
good,
like
bad.
that. It also feels like they're like, maybe somebody will think it's Mommy Dearest and they'll rent it. You know how like people make
No,
movies.
I mean, I get that, but, like, it's good. I support this journey for Lisa Rinna.
Okay, I mean, I love Lifetime. So
Yeah,
there
me
was
too.
a great, like, blink and you'll miss it joke where after Sophia tells Dorothy to sort of stand up and wave hi to everybody, Dorothy's like, is it me or were all the waiters whistling at me just now? And Blanche, who has
Yeah.
since shown up, is like, maybe they've never seen someone eat a steak that fast. And I
Yeah.
just thought it
Which
was really
also
funny and felt so felt so Dorothy, I guess.
yeah, well, Dorothy and, Blanche, like, that relationship, but yeah, I would also be that person. I eat very fast.
Stan does. I don't know what
Really?
it is. I know I've talked about this on the podcast before, that once a day, we have a moment in our house where we think he's choking, where he is choking. He chokes on his
Or
food like
Stan is
once a day.
joking?
Uh-huh. He
Little old
always
Stan chokes.
I will be in and I'll hear and then I always have to like run or peer around the corner and he gives me the thumbs up. But I don't know how he eats fast. I don't know what he's doing, but
That's
he
so interesting.
chokes like once a day.
That's so wild. Do you fear choking? I was gone this
Yes,
weekend
I
and I
do when I'm
came home
driving. That's why I don't
and
eat while I'm driving.
when you're
If you
driving,
think about it, think about it, think about it. If you're driving on the highway eating like peanut M&Ms, the big ones, if you're on the highway and you start to choke and you're alone in your car, what are you going to do?
I
Like
never thought about that.
safely while you're choking, try to pull off onto and then what? Flag down a car that's going 65 miles an hour so that somebody can give you the Heimlich before you pass out and fall into
Well,
oncoming traffic?
the driving part of it I never really thought of, but I don't really eat and drive, to be honest, myself. Like, I drink and drive, not like alcohol, but, like, I drink coffee.
Yeah, that's
But, like,
different.
I don't eat and drive. But Michael was telling me, that when I was away and he was here alone, that, one of his fears was choking, and what would he do? And I'm like, literally, like, he's like, "You're not afraid of that when you're alone?" And I'm like, "No, I'm not. I'm not afraid of that. I'm more afraid of falling, like, in the bathroom. Like, I'm a person who falls, but I'm not afraid of choking, probably because I chew my food."
I mean, I don't think it's totally wild for him to think about choking being alone. I don't think, but maybe also Michael, maybe like Stan, has experienced moments
Maybe.
of choking. But I definitely think about it when I'm in my car and I'm hungry and I'm like, oh,
I
should I
more
have this
think
snack?
when I'm alone at home, I'm like Rose. I'm more thinking about getting robbed, murdered, etc., and then I'm gonna shoot a Vice or Voss, like, or Lester. Like, I'm not thinking about choking or anything like that. I'm really only thinking about murder and the ways in which someone could get in to murder me.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I think about those things too. I guess we all just make
Yeah.
room in our brains for different things, don't we?
Different things to be stressed about irrationally.
So Sophia announces the winner, which is not Rose, unfortunately.
It is not.
Agnes
It is
Bradshaw has
not.
won, the first posthumous winner to ever. You're doing a product. I'm talking about a fictitious dead woman winning an award, and you're doing like a TikTok with your hand up displaying the brand of lip
Well,
gloss.
I realized I just put this on and I was like, oh, someone's probably going to be curious what I'm wearing if they're watching it on YouTube. So I figured I would hold it up for them. So I am wearing Villa from Glossier. Wait, you can't see it now. There we go.
Great. And we dedicate this moment to the late, great Agnes Bradshaw. And then Rose goes up on behalf of Agnes to accept the award. And that's where we get the great, she doesn't need that on her mantle. She's on her mantle. She gets like, old lady yelling, get off my lawn, like gravelly voice. I love it so much. Like there's so much, there's 7 years of pent up shit that's coming out of her mouth right now. So I know you and I had talked about like winning awards and stuff and how you won one for your documentary. Have you ever won an award and given a speech? Or have you ever thought about like if you were to win a big award and what you would like say in your speech?
Well, I won an award in high school, like my senior year. It was for like most value. It's gonna sound so pretentious. Most valued student or something. It was like the award you get for like the student who like did the most, really just the most popular or the most known or who like wanted it the most, which is probably me. And so I got that and I had to give a speech there. That's it. No,
Do you
I mean,
remember, did you like thank people in your speech?
yeah, I had to like thank my parents and shit and like and teachers and stuff. And I had to go through it. But I also spoke at my graduation and had to like that really wasn't a speech about me. It was a speech about the class.
Were you valedictorian?
No, I was student body president.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I got that. But I didn't. I think I mean I've spoken at like after screenings of the film and taking questions like that and stuff and spoken at like things like that. And I got an award for like I got a Jewish award too, actually. Come to think of it, not too long ago, and I spoke there too. But I didn't have to like thank people. I just spoke about like what this means to me about being Jewish and for the community and all those things, which I meant wholeheartedly, not full-heartedly, full and whole.
2 hours of sleep, people.
Yeah, sorry, I'm tangenting. I'm done.
No, that was great.
Yeah.
I feel like.
What about you?
I haven't won an award since I think I was in Odyssey of the Mind when I was like in like middle school or junior high school. But
what is that?
I think we've talked about this. It's nowadays, I think it's called Destination Imagination. It's
That sounds familiar.
kids who you like write a skit. It has to be under 7 minutes. It's competitive theater in a nutshell. Okay. It's mini competitive theater for
Is it like that SNL sketch
for children
where it's some theater troupe, like high school theater troupe that like does little sketches of like serious things on like drugs and like sex and all those things. And like there's this one sketch where A.D. Bryant goes, I love my AIDS. Think about it. And then it cuts to like a new scene and it's so funny.
I mean, I do remember in second or third grade, because you write everything yourself, but we definitely got like a little bit of help from the parents because we were writing jokes about, we had a character named Marilyn Montree and she was Marilyn Monroe, but she was a tree. and George W. Bush, who was a Bush. And we made jokes that I remember not understanding. And this was in second grade. So, so
Wow.
yeah,
Okay.
we did have those moments a little bit for sure. I think the thing about like let's say, you win like an Oscar or something, you win like a Grammy, whatever. I feel like there are people out there who, when they give their acceptance speech, they do like, I just want to thank, and then they just name like 50 people, like their parents, their managers, their husbands, their wives, their kids, their co-stars, the producers, the directors, their agent, their lawyer, their lawyer's assistant, whatever.
Publicist. Yeah.
But then
Yeah.
it's like, but do those people feel like a social anxiety to thank those people, or do those people genuinely, you know what I mean? Like, I always feel like I would want to say something meaningful instead of just spend my 2 minutes just rattling off a bunch of names.
I used to think that when I was younger and sort of not working in entertainment at all. And then now, the more and more I work in entertainment, the more and more I realize that it really fucking does take a village to do a lot of the stuff that some of these people do. And the amount of people that are involved, perhaps a little bloated, but the amount of people that are involved in a process of even getting anything made in this town is so fucking wild that if I got to a point where I was so fortunate to win an Oscar, I would do my work to think about every single person that helped me, not only in getting that project off the ground, but also getting me to the point where I could potentially be in that position. Cause like, it's just, it's both personal and public in that sense. But it's like, I recognize that it just takes a lot. Like, even the girls, when they won their Emmys and stuff, it takes a lot of work to do the things and to get to the place that they are, to win that award. And so, even though it's boring for us at home because we're like, who this? It's sort of like the acknowledgments parts in a book. Like, I've always said to people, if you want to find someone to publish your book, go Google every single person that's acknowledged in every single acknowledgement section of a book, because that'll give you the connections you need to know who's
Oh,
doing
that's
what and what's
smart.
happening. So, like, pay attention,
I feel like if I were going to give an acceptance speech, and if I wasn't going to name all those people, and if I instead wanted to take my 2 minutes to like say something meaningful and get a message across to the giant audience that's watching that could take something away from it, what I would then do is all those people who made it happen, I'd like give them each like $10,000 or something in a note.
Oh, well,
Because
that'd
I
be
feel
sweet.
like I'd be like, would you rather this money, or would you rather me have said your name at the Oscars? So
I always wanted to start. I always thought if I won an Oscar, I would start my Oscar speech by thanking my parents, by being like, I am so glad you had sex that night to create me. And I'm also really glad that you divorced. Give me personality.
there you go. That would be a very memorable Oscars speech.
AIDS. I love my AIDS.
I love my AIDS. Get it?
It's so funny.
Oh God, that's so crazy.
You have to look it up.
Then a woman comes over and introduces herself to Clayton. And before Clayton can introduce Doug, Blanche screams, "Fire!"
Yeah. Embarrassing. Just embarrassing.
Do you know that you're supposed to yell fire if you're being attacked? You're not supposed to yell
Yeah.
help.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm
Yeah,
gonna make
yeah.
sure our audience
Also,
knows too.
there's a scene in Hacks this past season 3, where two of them get lost in the woods, and instead of saying help because no one responds to help, they yell something like, I don't think you should be doing that, or something.
Oh,
And
that's
like,
funny.
and then people respond to it, and in fact it worked and people came. Yeah.
If people look,
That's not the exact line, but it's like it.
if people look closely enough in the new
True, you'll see
episode 1 of the
Stan.
new season of Hacks,
And also, the even though he's
Stan
not
is
in
in
it,
it.
there's a reference to his character in like episode 5 or something like that.
Oh, okay. We haven't.
Yeah.
We don't have HBO anymore, or Max, or whatever the fuck it's called. We haven't watched it, but people text us about it. So
Yeah, it's good.
yeah,
I texted you about
you
it.
texted me about it. Yes.
But I saw it before everyone else. Thank you.
You did.
Yes.
So I do, because Monty Markham is such an amazing actor. I did want to play his speech to Blanche after Blanche
It's so
awkwardly
good.
yells fire, because it's so
It's so
good, and
good.
he's so good, and
good.
it's just so good.
Blanche, how could you do that? What did you mean when you told me that you could accept my being gay? Did you mean it was okay so long as I was celibate? It was okay so long as I don't fall in love? Doug is a part of the family now, my family. And if you don't like it, then you don't have to be a part of my family.
That's a good ending.
That's
a good scene break.
That's a good yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
and like rightfully so, Clayton.
Preach.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep, he's a part of my family, and if you don't like that,
Yeah.
you don't have to be a part of my
And
family.
it gets Blanche, and of course we're getting to the best part, the part of the episode that every single month Pride comes around. This episode, this clip, this little bit of exchange between Blanche and Sophia gets shared. So it's I do it I hope it never becomes cliche to share this clip, because I do think it's a genuinely thoughtful and beautiful exchange between them. But everyone knows it. It's like the one that the show's known for, I think, in terms of queer stuff.
Yeah.
And it's and it helps Blanche get to that spot where she can see
Mm-hmm.
the error of her ways, if you will.
Yeah, I agree. I think when it comes to like when people talk about like a lot of the progressive messaging and storylines on the show,
They go to this. Yeah.
story. I also
Yeah.
love that Sophia's the one to give Blanche the late night advice in the scene. And like it reminds me of when Dorothy tells her that Jean is gay and thinks she's in love with Rose. And I love that even though Sophia is the oldest, she really does seem to be the most open-minded expressively on the show. Like it feels
I
like,
agree.
the other women are, obviously Blanche is a little different, but that Sophia is the one who expresses how open-minded she is. I mean, frankly,
Yeah.
she'd rather live with a lesbian than a cat. She said it herself.
Yeah,
But we're also going to play that clip because it
Yeah.
is so beautiful.
You have to.
Oh, look, I can accept the fact that he's gay, but why does he have to slip a ring on this guy's finger so the whole world will know?
Why did you marry George?
We loved each other. We wanted to make a lifetime commitment, wanted everybody to know.
That's what Doug and Clayton want, too. Everyone wants someone to grow old with, and shouldn't everyone have that chance?
Sophia, I think I see what you're getting at.
I don't think you do. Blanche, will you marry me?
And then they
So
get a
good.
joke out of it.
So good.
It's so good. I love how, Sophia knowing that, because Blanche is so self-involved, and Blanche a lot of times I think has trouble seeing something outside the lens of herself. So I think for Sophia to use that to help Blanche understand by saying like, why did you get married? And about making it about her for a moment. Like, I thought that was really great and helpful in the way to try to get through to Blanche about something.
Well, and it kind of goes back to, in a way, I mean, we've seen this before with Rebecca, or with, a lot of Blanche's relatives, where like she's had to get over something in order to get to a place where she can accept something of someone not doing something the way that she would do it or whatever. I mean, in a lot of ways, she's pretty ornery in terms of how people should live and how she thinks. She seems very judgmental for someone who doesn't want others judging her. And it, which is often always the case.
Yep.
And so it, but I do love that the payout for it in the end is so sweet, in that she does get to a place where she can accept, Doug and Clayton, and she is able to see that this is now just a new member of her family in a way, which is really
Yeah, I mean, the hug at the end, the three-way hug between the three of them is really sweet at the end. And, she does go to Clayton and Doug after talking to Sophia, and she does the big sister thing, and she asks Doug, like, do you love him? And she's like, because that's my baby brother, and like, I'm going to protect him and all that stuff. And then she tells Clayton that, she may not understand him wanting to get married, but she respects it, which for anybody who watched the Vanderpump Rules reunion a while back, I know there's an audience that's dropping off right now, but stay with me for those who did watch it. This is exactly what Ariana had to tell Lala about not wanting to film a one-on-one scene with her ex-boyfriend who cheated on her. So like, she's saying, you don't have to understand it. I'm just asking you to respect it. And that's exactly what Blanche was doing for Clayton. She's like, I don't get it, but this is your decision. I'm going to respect it.
Yeah, which is great.
And then also
before,
well, that's the end of the episode. But the last thing I want to mention, it happened before this, is Rose's moment with Agnes's trophy that she
Yeah.
stole, it's such like a my precious. Like I can't do the
Yeah.
Gollum voice, but my precious. No, I'm not even gonna try.
I can't do
I
it.
can't
Yeah,
do
I
it
can't do
either. It's a very
Yeah.
specific thing. I can do Mickey, I can do Goofy, I can do Elmo, but I cannot do Gollum. But yeah, the my precious moment was really funny, and that's the
That's the
episode, and it's
episode.
so good.
It's such a good episode. It really is. It's just a classic, and it's a perfect one for this Pride month.
It's perfect. It's perfect. It's so funny. It's so funny. And
Well, let's take a break and come back with our golden takeaways.
Let's do it.
And we are back with our golden takeaway, which is a nugget of truth or inspiration that you can apply to your life or perhaps the lives of our listeners. Kerri, what is your golden takeaway from this episode?
I'm going to keep this one short because you're on 2 hours of sleep. My golden takeaway is love is love. That's it.
Oh, I love when straight people say love is love. It's my favorite thing.
Oh, is this the Folsom
like
thing all over again?
It's like when when earnest gay people say it gets better, which I mean, it just kind of stays the same, but in a different way.
Look,
and
I'll
better.
even show. Look, this is my love is love mug.
I support that.
It's 2 spoons. It's a big spoon and a little spoon. See? 2 spoons can fuck.
Big, and we can all fuck.
We can all fuck it Folsom. Take your big spoon and your little spoon. Fuck everyone.
This episode is explicit. I'm sorry if you're listening with your children in the backseat, and if you are, wow, these kids must be bored. So my golden takeaway from this episode is, there's just something about senior citizens and people like Sophia, who at the end of the day, we like to look at them and think they're not going to have any wisdom or really be able to relate to me in my life because they're just so much older than me and they've experienced so many different things and I'm so different. But then if you just take the time to sit the fuck down and have a conversation with someone, you'll learn maybe you're not all that different, but also you might learn something from this person. So I would encourage you to, I don't know, when you're on that plane and you sit next to that person and you might think that they're so different from you because whatever, they're older, or they're younger, or they're queer, or they're whatever it is, have the fucking conversation. Just don't be annoying and eat like fried chicken on the plane or something, but have the conversation because you might learn something new about yourself.
Beautiful golden takeaway. Everyone, we love you all so much. Happy Pride Month. We'll be back next week with, I think, the Golden Girls gayest guest stars, I think is going to be our last to close out Pride. It's been so much fun doing these episodes. You can watch this episode and all of our recent episodes on YouTube. You can see our lovely faces and all the visual reference we talk about. Find us out on the Lanai. And remember, you can also check out the GGVIP Club for as little as $5 a month at patreon.com/Golden Girls Podcast. And it supports us, and that's awesome.
I need support. You can also, we're part of Mom, Moguls of Media. So go to Mom Plus because that's good and all. And you can also follow us on social media at Golden Girls Pod on the I can't say that backwards. Out on the Lanai official on Gold. I can't do it. Golden Girls Pod on on Koob. And then I'm HAlanScott and Sadie Pines on everything.
And I'm Squidzy on Instagram and Squid on Twitter. And if you want to do something else nice for the podcast, you can leave us a little rating and reviewsies.
I'm smoldering right now. I'm smoldering.
Smolder.
And remember,
always.
Let me do it all straight. If you're watching on YouTube, this is me being straight. Remember, as always, stay golden.
That was still super
love is
gay.
Love.
Shut
love
up! Don't make fun of me.
Love is love.
You said we were running long, and I didn't even go with my original golden takeaway. I said I'll keep it fast.
Better.
I said I'll say 3
it gets
words.
Better. It gets better.
Ugh. Out on the Lanai is not endorsed by Whit Thomas Harris Productions, Touchstone Television, Disney, or any of its subsidiaries. It is intended for entertainment and informational purposes only.
All names, pictures, audio, and video clips of the Golden Girls are registered trademarks and/or copyrights of their respective trademark and/or copyright holders.